Okay. So see students, first we will see about the Azure technology. Okay. So first, see, first we will see कि what is Azure. Okay. So for what is Azure? So Microsoft Azure, it is a cloud computing platform. Okay. So it provides what it provides a wide variety of services that we can use without purchasing or arranging our hardware. Okay. It enables the fastest development of solutions and it provides the sources, means it provides many resources to complete the task and that may not be achievable, okay, in on-premises environment. Okay. So Azure services like your compute, storage, network, and application services, it allows us to put our efforts into the building, means into the building great solutions without any means without worrying about the assembly of physical infrastructure. See, it is one means in short, it is what it is one a cloud computing platform. Nowadays, in a corporate, see, this Azure cloud computing, it is actually used by many means companies, many organizations. Okay, so first now for what we will see what is Azure. Okay, see Azure, it is a cloud computing platform that is given by Microsoft Azure. Okay, it is providing you a different variety of services. Okay, it is arranging you the hardware also. Okay, so what is Azure? So Microsoft Azure, it is actually growing to set the, it is actually growing a set of cloud computing services, okay, that all services are created by your Microsoft. So these all services host the existing applications, streamline the development of new applications, and also it helps to enhance the different on-premises applications. Okay, so it helps the organization in building, testing, deploying, and managing the applications and services through the Microsoft managed data centers. Okay, so see, there are different Azure services like compute services are there, data service, then application service, then network services there. Now, first, what is compute service? Okay, so your compute service, it actually includes the cloud services. Okay, so cloud service kiska, so it actually including the cloud services for that is given by Microsoft Azure Cloud. Okay, so this is Azure virtual machines. Okay, this is what this is Azure's virtual machines. So Azure website, Azure virtual machine, Azure mobile services that all processes the data on the cloud. Okay, that will be helpful for the powerful processors. Okay, now data service, second service concept is the data service. So this data service, it is actually used to store the data over the cloud. Okay, so that can be scaled according to the requirements. So it include what it include Microsoft Azure storage like blob kya hai? It is the binary large object. What is blob is one type of, means it is one kind of data type. Okay, that is binary large object. Then it includes Qtable. It includes the Azure file services. Okay, Azure SQL databases. Then it includes the Redis cache. So all these are the different storages that are given by the Azure. Okay, so Azure technology, it is again useful for the data services. Then third आपका जो services, so that service is your application service. Now application service is what it includes different services that helps to build and operate the applications like Azure Active Directory is there, service bus, service bus for connecting the distributed systems. Okay, then HD Insight for processing big data. So see, all these are the applications, that means different applications that are provided by the Azure. Okay, Microsoft Azure Cloud Computing. So what type of means applications are there? So Azure Active Directory, service bus for connecting distributed systems, HD Insight for processing big data, then Azure Scheduler. Okay, and again Azure Media Service is also there. So Azure Media Service for the video, audio, these things are there. So for that we have Azure Media Service also. Okay, then fourth service from Azure is the network service. Okay, so network service, it actually helps to connect the cloud and on-premises infrastructure. Okay, So it includes the virtual networks, it includes the Azure content delivery network, then Azure traffic managers. Okay, so different services are there that is provided by your Azure. Okay, then next क्या है? So next is how Azure works. Okay, so actually in this diagram it shows how your Azure works. Okay, see, basically to understand the working of the Azure, basically to understand the internal working of the Azure, so we have means all we have to design our applications that works on the Azure effectively with high availability and data residency and the resilience. Okay, that etc. So Microsoft Azure, it is actually completely based on the concept of virtualization. Okay, माइक्रो क्योंकि ये टाइप का क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग है, इट इज प्रोवाइडिंग यू द स्टोरेज. ओके, so Microsoft Azure, it is based on the concept of virtualization. Okay, so similar to other virtualized data centers, it is also contain the racks. तो ये जो vertical में आपको दिख रहे हैं ना, different cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster, so these clusters are nothing but considered as the rack. So each rack has a separate power unit and the network switch. So green color के जो box है, so that box are there power unit and the network switch. And also each rack, it is integrated with the software called the fabric controller. So every rack, it includes, this is the actual arrangement of the in your data center. जो organizations में corporate में data centers होते, so that is actually the arrangement of data center that includes the Microsoft Azure. Okay, so it is means in virtualized data center, it contains the racks. In that rack we have the separate power unit and the network switch. Okay, then there is a special integrated software, it means all inbuilt software. Okay, so that software is the fabric controller. So this fabric controller, it is actually the distributed application, so that is responsible for managing and monitoring the servers within that rack. तो जो भी रैक में सर्वर्स है, so that servers are managed and monitored, क्योंकि फैब्रिक कंट्रोलर क्या है, that is the software program. Okay, so that software program is actually useful for the distributed applications. So it is responsible for managing and monitoring all the servers. Okay, whatever servers are available in the rack, जो cluster 1 cluster 2 diagram में आपको दिख रहा है ना, so that cluster 1 cluster 2 is nothing but the racks, so that are managed by the fabric controller. Okay, so that are racks, and every rack is coming with the different power unit and the network switch. Okay, now in case of any server failure, okay, अभी ये provide क्या कर रहा है, it is managing and monitoring the servers. Okay, if
one
mute करा,
दो जल्दी रखो ऑन.
students, okay, see, so fabric controller हम लोगों ने देखा. Okay, so your Azure, it is responsible for managing and monitoring servers. हाँ, if any server fails, okay, अगर एक भी सर्वर उसमें से फेल हो रहा है, so this fabric controller, it recognize and recovers it. Okay, and that's why inbuilt fabric controller is there, inbuilt software code is there. So why that inbuilt software code we have, so that fabric control, if any server fails, so that time that recovery is done by this fabric controller. Okay, it is connected to a piece of software that is called as orchestrator. Okay, see, in at the left hand side वहाँ पे pin section दिया है. Okay, we have web API, and that web API is connected to the orchestrator. So orchestrator is what? It is again a piece of software. Okay, so a small piece of software that is connected to the fabric controller. So what this orchestrator includes? So this includes the web services. So कौन से web services, like REST API, SOAP. Okay, so these web services are created, updated, and deleted the resource. All these web services are used to create, delete, and update the resources. Okay, so whenever a request is made by the user, okay, either by using PowerShell or Azure portal, So first it will pass to the orchestrator, when it will fundamentally perform three things. It first authenticate the user, means directly rack में pass कर रहा है क्या वो नहीं, okay. जब भी first request आने वाला है, so that first request will pass to the orchestrator, okay. So then that will be authenticate. First step क्या होता है, so authenticate the user. So first it will authenticate. Second, it will authorize the user. So what is the authorization of user? So it will check whether that user allowed the request to task, means whether that the task is allocated for that user or not. That will authorize. Okay. Then it will check into the database for the availability of the space that is based on the resources. Okay. So from the appropriate Azure Fabric controller, it will check that space from the database and then execute the request. Okay. Now, combinations of all these racks from the cluster, we have multiple clusters within a data center. Okay. And we can have multiple data centers within an availability zone. Okay. So zone wise, we have different. So see, next diagram जो है, so this is blue point जो display हो रहे, so that blue points are different. See now how many regions are there? 54 regions worldwide है, okay. So 140 available in 140 countries or the regions, okay. So geographical area, if you check, so a combination racks for a clusters, we have a number of combination racks and the clusters. So multiple clusters are there in the data centers, and we can have multiple data centers within the availability zone. Okay. So multiple availability zones are available within the range, and multiple range regions are available within the geography. Okay. So what is geographies in your Azure? So it is actually the discrete market, okay, that contains two or more regions, okay, that preserves the data residency, compliance boundaries. That is geography. Geography means what? That data center, it is the limit, certain limit that we are providing to the Azure. So that is geography. Okay. Then Azure regions are there. So Azure region means what? It is actually the region that is for the collection of data centers that are deployed. Okay. क्योंकि virtually आप connect कर रहे हो, virtually आप work कर रहे हो Azure पे. Okay. So virtually work करने के बाद you have to collect the data from any data center. ना कभी भी कोई भी data center से data require हो सकता है. So that collection of data from the data center that is deployed and that is defined, it is defining the perimeter interconnected through the dedicated regional low latency network. Okay. So that all are called as the Azure regions. Okay. So means what, your Azure covers more global regions than the other cloud providers. Okay. So it offers the scalability that required to bring the applications user closure around the world. So globally, it is available 50 regions around the world. Okay. So due to its availability over many regions, it helps in preserving data residence. Okay. And it offers means it offers the comprehensive compliance and flexible options for the customer. Now availability zone means what? There are many physically separated locations within the Azure region. So every Azure region that is made up of many data centers that are independent to the configuration. Okay. So if you consider the Azure pricing, okay. So Azure pricing, see, actually it is the best main reason to learn the Microsoft Azure. That is because Microsoft is providing free credits in the Azure account to access the Azure services for free of short duration. Okay. So this credit is sufficient for the people who are new at the Microsoft Azure and want to use the services. So Microsoft offers the pay as you go approach that helps the organizations to serve their needs. So MNC में जाने के बाद जब आप Azure पे work करते हो, so that time you will get training, okay, for this cloud service, and mostly many corporate they are working on this cloud service, Azure cloud service. So typically the cloud services will be charged based on the usage. Okay. जैसे आप अभी जो Yahoo Google use करो cloud, 15 GB तक cloud free है. So after 15 GB after 15 GB you will get the plans कि you can purchase 200 rupees में इतना इतना प्लान परचेस कर सकते हो, 200 GB परचेस कर सकते हो, इतना इतना मीन्स कितने रुपीज में कितना प्लान. Okay, so that means we are purchasing the cloud services. Okay, so the flexible pricing options that helps the upscaling, downscaling in the architecture as per our requirement. So Azure pricing is very good and it is very effective. So it is the best data means cloud storage Azure. Okay, now comes towards the Azure certification. Okay, where this Azure is used. So what is the Azure certification? So these three certifications we have in our Azure technology. Okay, so like first Azure certification is the Azure administrator, then Azure developer, and then the Azure solution architect. Okay, means आप जब corporate में जाते हो तो as a these three posts they have for the Azure cloud technology. Okay, so Microsoft Azure, it helps to fill the gap between the industry requirement and the resource available. So Microsoft provides the Azure certification into three different categories. Okay. So first is what? It is the Azure administrator. So what is Azure administrator? Now they are actually implementing, monitoring, and maintaining the Microsoft Azure solutions, including the different services of your Azure technology. So that all are the Azure administrator. Azure developer means what? Those who design, build, test, and maintain the cloud solutions, such as applications and services. Then partnering with the cloud solutions and architects, then cloud DBAs, cloud administrators, then client to implement these solutions. These are Azure developers. Developers means here means different concepts of your object orientation also comes in the Azure development. Okay. So like runtime polymorphism, compile time polymorphism may be there. So that different the technologies we have. Okay. Then Azure solution architecture. So Azure solution architect means what? Key those who have expertise in compute, network storage, and security, so that they can design a solution for to run the Azure. Okay. So that is the Azure architect. So all these are the certifications that are divided into different levels. Levels होते हैं जैसे आपके CCNA वगैरह के levels होते हैं level 1, level 2. So all these certificates are divided into different levels. Okay. If suppose you are planning to get the certified, then you has to get an associate level certification, then go for the advanced level. Okay, so all these, see, there are different cloud computing technologies like Azure. अभी आज मैंने आपको just introduce किया है. Okay, like that we have AWS जो Amazon Web Service है. Okay, like that we have Google Cloud also. Okay, so nowadays in company, in corporate, these all cloud computing technologies that are very important. Okay, that are very much required. Okay, so means they actually, if you are doing certifications in all this cloud computing now, so that will be helpful for your job opportunities also. Okay, so